Hey, soldiers, did you know that there is a tax on single people in this country? That's right. It costs more to be single than it does to be booed up. So if you have found Mr. or Miss Right, you know that optimally you're able to save a lot of money and divert more money to the purchase of assets. Now, let me preface this whole thing by saying the Soldiers of Finance channel is not a dating channel. We are not a relationship advice channel. So please understand that we're speaking about this from the context of your financial life. We're just going to give you some facts related to that. Because look, if you get into a relationship that doesn't work out, especially if you get married, and it doesn't work out and there's some kids in the mix, oh, you're talking about financial ruin. And I'm not just talking for the guys, okay? For the ladies as well. And of course, that has a deleterious effect on the lives of any children involved. So this is not dating advice. We're just looking at the realities of being single as opposed to being in a relationship and sharing expenses. I'm the last one in the world to give out dating advice. You know, I got engaged 30 days after I met my wife, and that's been 23 years ago. And I certainly know that it doesn't work out like that, okay, in cases where people have, been engaged for years, okay? So unfortunately, marriage sometimes doesn't always work out, and that can be tough on any kids involved. So, I just want to make sure you understand this is not dating advice. But if you have a little sweetheart out there that you got your eye on and you guys gel, just understand that all other things being equal, it could work out financially. Why it's so expensive to be single in the United States of America in 2023. There's a good chance there are singles in your area that are ready to mingle. Nearly half of adults in the U.S. are currently single. The 117.6 million unmarried, divorced, or widowed Americans older than 18 account for 46% of the population, according to the U.S. Census Bureau data. Let me stop right there and say I'm so happy I'm not in the dating game today. It's weird out there. I hear from people, okay? It's kind of weird. But anyway, that number rather, has been growing slowly but steadily since the 1960s as more adults are finding themselves single or remaining unmarried for longer. Many are feeling crushed by the total weight of living expenses, which have also continued to grow in recent years. Let me wax conspiratorial for a minute here. The women's liberation movement, I've often said that that was more about the government influencing people like Gloria Steinem to help them get the woman out of the home into a W-2 situation where then she had to pay some taxes, some income taxes, okay? I really believe that's what the powers that be wanted women's liberation to be about. They wanted to liberate women from part of their income when they went out there and started working. And I think you can make a convincing argument that since we had the woman come out of the home, which to me, that whole thing about raising the children was is to me the most important job in society. Now you look at some of these inner cities where we don't have that nuclear family anymore, okay, where mom is out for 8 hours a day, the schools are raising the kids. How's that working out for us? All right. But I digress. The majority of my friends who are single and living alone are stressed about the cost of living. This is according to Mr. K. Sean Holloway, a single man living in New York City. He's telling that to CNBC. While it can play a significant factor for people trying to find a relationship, paying for dates isn't the reason single people may struggle financially. The first date I had with my wife was I went to the grocery store, prepared a meal for her. The second date, she did the same for me. ZD, and we laugh about this to this day because it was ziti with turkey ground beef, and I'm like, I hate that. Okay, I really do. But I stomached a spoonful of it just to kind of grease the skids. It was my representative. Eating the ground turkey, had to make a good first impression. My friend came over the next day and he ate the rest of it. But I told her never. Turkeys weren't meant to be ground. Okay, so we've crossed that bridge. On top of being solely responsible for living cost that the couple can split, single people are excluded from several financial benefits reserved for married couples. Here's what the singles tax looks like in the U.S. Dollar for dollar, it is cheaper. If we just go on a dollar for dollar basis, it's cheaper to be in a one-person household. After all, there's only one mouth to feed, one person using household essentials, and the home only needs to have enough space for one body. Anecdotally, I know people who are single who live in 4-bedroom houses for some strange reason, but whatever. But when you add it all up, maintaining a single-person household doesn't cost exactly half of a 2-person household. That's why it's called the singles tax. It costs more to be on your own than it would for you to share costs with a partner. So let's look at South Carolina, which falls around the middle of all states in terms of cost of living. This is according to the Missouri Economic Research and Information Center. Here's the cost of a year's worth of typical expenses before taxes, including necessities such as food, housing, medical care, transportation, and more in South Carolina, according to estimates from MIT. A single-person household is typically going to run $29,880 a year. 2-person household is going to run $47,483 a year. Okay, you see where this is going. You split that $47,483 a year for the 2-person household. You split that down the middle, you're getting, if you split it down the middle, you're getting $23,742 per year for each person in that household. Now, we already said that the single-person household was $29,880 a year. So the single person is looking at paying $6,138 more than each person in the 2-person household. Okay, as you might imagine, housing is going to be the most expensive aspect of this arrangement. I know that when I was single many moons ago, I never had a roommate. And I tell you what, it was a tough road to hoe for a while because that housing piece was very expensive. You couldn't cut corners on it, your rent. Okay, you had to pay your rent in full. Unlike like eating, you could have leftovers and you could buy less expensive food, manager special, all this. You could maneuver, but you cannot do that with your housing expenses. Now, these folks up in New York, man, I don't understand how they do it. Hats off to them. But in an expensive city like that, a studio apartment costs an average of $3,550 a month. So a lot of those folks are looking for roommates and doing things like that to cut expenses. That means someone living alone, though, they're living alone, they're paying $42,600 a year in rent alone in that situation, okay? Whereas a couple splitting the same rent down the middle would pay $21,300. Now, again, you don't have to be in some sort of committed romantic relationship in order to just have a roommate, okay, to split a cost like that. However, if you do, then we can presume that there are other costs that are also being shared as well in that case. Not only that, if you're in a committed relationship, you're probably also making some major financial plans for the future jointly. Whereas a roommate, you guys will have that relationship for a little while, you'll cohabitate, and then, life will take you in 2 different directions. Now, the other financial benefits of being actually married, not just having a significant other that is cohabitating with you, the financial benefits of being married, that's written into our law, tax law specifically. Even if individuals earn a high income and keep their living costs low, financial advantages for married couples are written right into the law of the land. This, according to Bella Di Poello, author of Singled Out. We all know that the tax code contains a lot of benefits for married couples. In some cases, married couples have advantages that simply don't exist for single individuals, such as with income taxes. Quote, it used to be that the tax brackets were structured in such a way that if two people were earning money and then they combined their incomes, they would pay more taxes after they were married. Monique Morrissey, she's a senior economist at the Economic Policy Institute, she told that to CNBC. She's alluding to what's known commonly as the marriage tax penalty or bonus. Prior to the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, aka the Trump tax cuts, married couples were more likely to face what's known as a marriage tax penalty, which is when a couple combined their incomes and entered a higher tax bracket. The penalty was mostly eliminated under this 2017 reform, except in some states and among ultra-high income earners. The marriage tax bonus occurs when couples pay less in income taxes when they file jointly than they would have as individuals. So people always say, I didn't get nothing from the Trump tax cut. Like, first of all, you wouldn't know if you did because you don't understand taxes. You're making a W-2 income. There are very few deductions available to you under that scenario. And you know, H&R Block is they don't have to dig that deep into it. So you can play the political line. I didn't make anything. I didn't do anything. Most people wouldn't know if they did. Okay. And I know that because most people are still out here thinking that getting a tax refund is a good idea. Okay, guys, these marriage-related tax benefits, of course, marriage-related means you have to be married. But again, I want to stress that these benefits are bonuses or ancillary to the marriage union. It's not something that should be a determining factor in you getting married because that's an emotional investment. And also, it can go sideways financially for you if it doesn't work out. So we're just, again, talking about it in that context of financial independence. The other thing I'd like to point out is, from the tax standpoint, you don't get that, again, if you are just girlfriend and boyfriend. A different kind of financial freedom. It's not all bad news, though, for the singles. The financial freedom that comes from being single is really awesome because I get to spend all my money on me, and my favorite person is me, so that's really great. This is according to Mr. Holloway. I get to really invest in myself, and that's really nice. Okay, hey, to each his own, right? That being said, you may want to pay extra attention to your finances as a single person since you don't have the financial safety net of a partner's income. Your parents, friends, or other family members may be able to help you out, but for the most part, you're on your own. And that's a price some people are willing to pay, right? We're not going to down Mr. Holloway for that. Maybe he's running into a situation where he just hasn't found the right partner, and his peace of mind, that has a price tag on it that is invaluable, okay? So hats off to the brother, okay? It's even more important for you to budget, to understand how much money you're making, how much money you're spending. Where is your money going? According to Camilla Elliott, she's a certified financial planner at Collective Wealth Partners. Since housing is such a huge cost, the most effective money-saving advice might be to get a roommate or to downsize as much as possible. Outside that, Elliott recommends looking for other ways you can cut costs. And we talk about cutting costs here on the channel all the time. Who knows? Your roommate, that relationship may blossom into a romantic sort of arrangement. Who the hell knows, right? But let's just be clear about this. If you're single in 2023, those people are looking at absorbing a lot more in terms of cost of living. So they're going to have to make some strategic decisions in terms of freeing up money to continue to purchase assets. Whereas a married couple has more of an opportunity to do that. We saw just with those living expenses in South Carolina, when we did that, we saw that optimally the married couple has about $6,000 that they can play with, just, based on the fact that they're sharing those expenses. Wouldn't it be great if they could sock that into purchasing assets? Optimal, right? That would really be making it work. All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.